So in this video entitled Venom Introduction, we'll talk about what Venom is briefly and then go into the menus of Venom and how to use it. So Venom is a wrapper that uses KVM as a hypervisor for various things. Can be servers, can be routers. Currently it will support routers, the XRVR router, which you can get from Cisco. So with that, we're going to start up Venom by typing it, and you'll see the first menu that you come to, and we're going to go through each one of these menus. So I'm going to look at the device operations, and I am going to show my devices, which is number 3. You can see I have no devices. Alright, so now I need to add some devices. So I will hit number 1 for add devices, and I want to select a router and then the XRVR image, and I'm going to say that there are 4 interfaces to that. Now I'm going to go back and we're going to look at the routers that we have here. So I'm going to show device, and you can see that I have one router built with 4 interfaces. Now if I want to look deeper at the interfaces or add more interfaces to it, basically what I can do for add is hit number 5 and say I want R0, and I'm going to add 2 more interfaces to it and go back, and then I will view my device, and you can see now my interface count is 6. So if I want to view the interfaces themselves, I'll hit 6 and I will look at R0, and you can see more information about the model driver it's using, and then the MAC address it's also using, and it's KVM VLAN that's been assigned. So if I go back now, let's say I want to give let's rename this particular router here. So I'm going to change device name here, number option 10. So I hit 10, and R0 is my only option. I'm going to call it CHI BB01. Okay, and I'll go back and take a look at my device, and you can see it's been renamed. Alright, so now let's say I want to name the devices as I create them. So I'm going to go back to the main menu, and under settings, which is number 4, I can toggle the override device name flag. So I'm going to hit that, and as you can see that is now enabled. So I return and go into device operations, and I'm going to add a device. It's going to be a router, and it's going to be an XRVR router. So now it's prompting me for a device name. So I will call this one den-bb-01, and I'm going to give it 4 interfaces. And let's do one more router. We'll say 3 for XRVR. I'm going to give it a ny-bb-01. I give it 4 interfaces, and I'm going to go back to the device operation menu, and I'm going to look at my devices, hit 3, and you can see all routers that were created. Now I have routers that have interfaces. Now I need to get a little connectivity going. So I can select add link, so number 7, and I say I want to go from Chicago to Denver, and boom, a link has been built. Now I will look at that link by hitting 9 for show link, and you can see Chicago G00 is connected to Denver G00. So I'm going to finish that out by selecting 7 again, and I will go from Denver to New York. And my last link, I will go Chicago to New York in somewhat of a ring. And now I'm going to look at all my connections. There's my connections. Okay. Today the connectivity is actually accomplished through TCP, so that's why you see it having a TCP port. In later revisions we're actually going to use tap interfaces and bridges to tie these together. So that's pretty much the devices menu. So I'm going to go back. Obviously if you need to delete a router you can do that. Let's just run through that. I'll add a device, call it my D router. Great, we'll give it 4 interfaces, And I'll go back to the device operation menu. I'll look at what I have, and now I want to go ahead and delete a router, so I'll delete the device and say I want to delete number 4, which is that router, and go back, and now you can see I'm back to 3 routers. Okay, so I am going to the main menu again, and in the config operations menu, allow me to do a couple extra things. First, if I hit print kvm, which is my startup file, I'll be able to look at what that looks like right from the menu, and you can see the commands that are being used to actually invoke these 3 routers. If I want to look at the current configuration of a router, say number 1, I'll hit, alright, then I can see the actual configuration here, which you can cut and paste, but it does go into the router as well on boot up. Now, as you can see, there isn't much to there but the management plane protection and then the interface assignment. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do some protocol operations here. I'm going to enable OSPF. I'm going to enable MPLS, and that should be good for now. Now what this is going to do is it's going to enable OSPF and MPLS for all connected interfaces that have been made. That's the limitation today. Later on there will be an ability to define other interfaces as passive LANs and things like that. So now if I look at my configuration by pressing 2 and then click the router I want to look at, you can see that I have router OSPF and my MPLS LDP. Okay, so now I'm going to go back, and I think we've covered this one. I'm pretty much done with what I want to do with my network. So I am going to go into the network operations, and I have to first build my network before I can start it. If I try to start, I have no objects in which to start from. So I'm going to create all those objects. As you can see, those were created. Okay, and now I can hit start, and the network should be started. So I'm going to view it, and there it is. So that's running. It shows you your telnet port that you need to go to and what PID it's running on. Obviously, stop network will stop the network from running. So I can go back to the main menu, and let's go over some settings. So in settings, I have the ability to do some image options. First one is set image path. Now, your main image for XRVR or your servers will actually reside in a directory that then gets routers and servers made from. So this set image path is currently set to opt images, so your image names would have to reside in that directory with read privileges to that and write. So you can change that by typing in another path. We'll keep it the way it is, and you can see that that's been preserved just by hitting enter. Now to set your XRVR image, hit 2, and then you can go ahead and give it whatever image name you put into opt images. I will keep it as XRVR 342 because that's what I have it set as, and you can do the same thing for VIOS and 7K when that supports there. Okay, so that's the setting menu. The last things to go over is when I want to save my setup, I can just say save everything in object file. What this does is that every time I come up in Venom, this particular setup will be there, so that you can go, let me quit, type in Venom, and if I look at my devices again, you can see they're all there. Now the export to GML, I'm going to hit that right now. What that's going to do for you is export the network topology in GML format so that you can actually open it in WIAD. There is a how-to video on doing this with WIAD. Please look at the wiki for that. And that pretty much covers the menuing system and how to use XRVR, or the Venom menuing system to get into XRVR. Now, if I quit, and remembering those ports that I had, if I telnet to localhost 7000, then what I will see is my router coming up. Okay, and that's how then you access your routers in the system. Alright, and that's then it takes a little bit of time. The routers will then take the configuration in, and the iOS prompt that you see there will then get changed to the router name that we call them. Hope this was helpful, and hopefully you view the other videos. Thanks.